Looking back at this footage, it seemed like the absolute Italian dream. The sun was shining, the coast looked perfect, but the reality behind the camera was completely different. We hadn't filmed anything for the previous 24 hours because honestly, we were at our lowest point. We had just gone through torrential rain, a crash in a roundabout, and a night in a place we had to flee just to keep our bikes safe. This is the part of our tour that didn't make it to Instagram. It all started after we left Tuscany. We were exhausted, so we made the first stop in a small town called Pomaia just to reset. The next day on the road to La Spezia, the rain just wouldn't stop. We tried to wait it out in a pastry shop, but as soon as we left, chaos struck. Somewhere on the road inside the roundabout it happened. I honestly don't know if it was oil, sand, or maybe I just made a mistake and accelerated too hard on the wet asphalt. But the rear wheel slipped out instantly. We fell hard. I stayed inside the protected space of the Vespa, but my girlfriend took a hit on her side. The Vespa got stretched up pretty bad, and being wet, bruised, with a damaged bike, our morale was destroyed. We thought that was the worst of it, but the bad luck wasn't over yet. We arrived in La Spezia, where we had booked an Airbnb right in the city center. When we pulled up, we were greeted by a group of shady guys with a huge speaker blasting music. They immediately started eyeing the Vespas. The vibe was intimidating and it felt really unsafe. We knew we couldn't leave the bikes there, so we made a hard call. We left immediately. The host refused to refund us, so we lost the money and had to scramble to find a secure hotel before it got dark. Looking back, my honest advice is just avoid La Spezia. Don't book there. It felt like a ghetto and it wasn't the welcoming experience we expected in Italy. But the next morning we finally left that place behind. The sun came out and we hit the road towards Cinque Terre. And this road is exactly what we needed. Honestly, riding after a crash is weird. Even though the scenery is stunning, I mean, look at these cliffs dropping into the sea, I was very stiff. Every corner felt dangerous, I kept waiting for the rear wheel to slip again. It takes a while to trust the bike and the tires again after you go down. But mile after mile the fear started to fade a bit. The road which links La Spezia to Cinque Terre is spectacular. It climbs high above the sea, winding through vineyards and terraces. It's one of those roads that reminds you why you ride a motorcycle in the first place. It slowly heals you. As we started the descent toward the first village, the view just opened up completely. We could see the colored houses in the distance. The scratches on the bike were still there, but looking at this view, it didn't matter as much anymore. Check this out, further down the road we spotted this couple in the vintage car. Just cruising, enjoying the coast. This is the ultimate Italian vibe right here. Pure old money. Our plan was to visit every village starting with Riomaggiore. We arrived at the entrance full of hope, but surprise, the police stopped us. Access was closed for non-residents and there was absolutely no parking left. They wouldn't even let us enter for a quick photo. We learned the hard way that visiting Cinque Terre on a private vehicle has its limits, especially in high season. So we had no choice but to turn around and move toward Mararola and Corniglia, hoping for better luck further down the coast. So Riomaggiore was a bust. Getting rejected at the gate wasn't exactly the plan. But honestly, after the crash, the rain and that horror story in La Spezia, just being here, riding along this coast feels like a massive win. We learned the hard way that the Vespa tour isn't always about la dolce vita. Sometimes it's just about picking yourself up from the wet asphalt and keeping the wheels turning. But the adventure isn't over. In the next episode, we leave the Rejection behind and head towards Corniglia, the village high up on the cliffs, where we finally find the peace and the food we've been looking for. If you've ever had a travel nightmare like ours, drop a comment below. I'd love to read it. Thanks for riding through the storm with us. See you in the next one.